some message is equal to, here if anyone writes like this, so be hello, bold hello. Actually, this is not safe. This is not safe. That means you are trying to present such contents and manage those contents, then this is not safe. That means it is not a good option here, right? So generally, if anyone tries to handle such type of things, that means you are allowing to write queries. You are allowing to write queries. So, and we should prevent such queries, and we need to handle that. Actually, for that we can use some simple functions and methods for handling these kind of things and allow them. For example, suppose let's go into a simple example here, and let's see how we can manage that. I will go into this our application. This is one application that we have designed. So in web here we are designing some application, and using the contents and defining the contents like what I have showed you is always a problem in this website. So it may be your React application, or it may be your Angular application, or it may be in simple JavaScript jQuery application. These problems will come. So we need to prevent them, and we need to handle those situations. Let's see. So how we can write some little bit logic for that. Right. That means I will show you in a general application. You can follow this everywhere. That means you can follow this in React.js or JavaScript or jQuery. By understanding the libraries, you can manage them. So I will show you a simple example. Suppose this is our React.js application. So in this React.js application, so I want to handle the cross-site scripting attacks. So see here, let's run this and see, execute this and see here. Let's open and run this now. Project cd shopping and npm start. Okay. And here I will, by default, we will see what it is started with. That means by default one page is set here and we want to access that. Starting our React application. In our React application, we have some content. By default, some content. Yeah, the application started, and this is the application we have. And in this application, so we are configuring some, let's see what is the startup page it is having actually, so that I can configure from there. Okay, by default some content is coming here. Suppose Amazon shopping, this is the home page and it is rendering some content. Last session we designed all this here. Suppose, see what we are doing now is in this the app home. So we have some content to display and access that here. What I will do is in this component where it is showing the content here, in the component where it is showing, I will declare here, I will declare a simple constant. So some directly in the render method, I will declare some constant. So I say constant, some MSG is equal to, so in the bold letters, I written as, so React and close the bold, and I written as security. Like this I have written. Now this is not good for coding. Why? Because if you are writing like this, that means you are trying to inject some query inside the string. And I am printing that. So below that I will put a paragraph. In the paragraph, I am trying to print that message, MSG. I am trying to print the message. You can print the message and configure the message in the paragraph or inside the div here. Now you see here, you see it says B React security. That means it is not transforming that into bold. It is not transforming that into bold, and it is just displaying that here. And when you inspect here in the console, you can see here. So here we have the options it is showing, and it will show you several warnings saying that the contents that you are defining are not safe. That means the options that you are presenting is not safe. So that means whatever you are trying to present is not safe. That is not a safe content to present in this way. That is not the right way. Suppose actually in a paragraph or in a div, if I want to render anything, you know that these have properties like inner HTML. So we have like inner text like properties. To those properties, so we can apply some dynamic value. So that is the inner HTML property. We can apply that dynamic values, messages and all these things. And that contains a lot of coding and logic there. And that will say that, you see, it says that it is dangerously set inner HTML. Dangerously set. It is asking to look up for dangerously set inner HTML. That means it says that the content you are trying to do is not good. It's not great. So this is not recommended. So we have security problems. Then how you can handle that security? So actually every browser so have a document object. You know that document object. This document object, the DOM object, have a DOM sanitizer. It have a DOM sanitizer. This DOM sanitizer is responsible for identifying the string that you are passing, verifying the string you are passing. And if it thinks that that is not good and according to safety measures, then automatically it will prevent it and it will not allow. And sanitizer, what it can do is it can disable and it can enable also. In some situations we want to allow, in some situations we don't want to allow. By default it is not allowing, that's very good, but sometimes we want to allow. In that case we need to install this DOM sanitizer. How do we install the DOM sanitizer and use in our project? So you have to install the DOM sanitizer. How to install DOM sanitizer is, in our project, you have to, so CD shopping, we have to install npm install. We have to install a library called DOM Purify. we need to install a library called DOM Purify. This library is installed into our project. After installing this DOM Purify into our project, so after configuring and installing this DOM Purify into the project, we have to import and use this DOM Purify in order to translate the unsafe code into safe code and use that safely. So these questions, these type of points are asked at very experienced level. So at a fresher level, you cannot expect people asking such complicated questions related to website security and how to handle them. They may ask you just a few things like, what do you know about cross-site scripting attack or request forgery? Just tell me the point. You don't need to tell how to prevent it. That is very expert developer have to know about that. But as a learner also, if you know about this, that's very great. That's very good. You are having a good knowledge in handling the security. So we downloaded this DOM Purify and we have to use that. In this, what we have to do is we have to import. We need to import. We have to import Purify. Purify from DOM Purify. We have to import Purify from DOM Purify. After importing this DOM Purify, what we do is wherever you are trying to present the content inside a div or heading or somewhere, you see now here, now you are trying to present inside the div. It is saying that it is not safe. I will do one thing now. I will use an option called dangerously set inner HTML. Dangerously set inner HTML is equal to using a binding expression. What I have to do is in the binding expression, another expression. Here you have to use underscore HTML. It is a property which allows a HTML string, which string? That string need to be converted into a safe string. That means we have to use Purify. We have to use Purify dot sanitize. Sanitize, which content to sanitize. So the message to be sanitized. The message need to be sanitized. This is how we have to write. That means by using a sanitizer, you are making the unsafe message as the safe message and printing it. And you can see that, So it has to print that. Now no more error came. So you can see that it is safe. Now you can see that the message is also displayed here. React is in bold and in security. It is not showing those coding characters. It is directly printing in bold and managing it. That means it converts the unsafe string into the safe string and it will allow. This is called cross-site scripting attack. And you can manage the cross-site scripting attack and prevent the cross-site scripting attack by using simple DOM Purify. By using DOM Purify, you can handle this. Actually, you need a sanitize function. So we call it as DOM sanitizer. So that is cross-site scripting attack. Another important is SQL injection that generally you learn in SQL. SQL injection is nothing but usually when you write a query, so select star from table like this. In that additionally, so they can add a query and they can write a delete query. That means inside your text box, so you are defining some ID and after means you are asking like select from table where ID is equal to whatever ID you type. That ID you are typing in text box. And in text box after typing ID, if you put semicolon and write a delete command, delete star from table. If you know the table, you can write that command. Then what happens is it will execute that command immediately after this ID. That means anybody can affect your database by writing queries into this. This is SQL injection actually. And you can prevent these SQL injections. So do you know how to prevent SQL injection? Anybody have learned Oracle SQL Server? Any idea? How to prevent SQL injection? Any idea? What do you say? How we can prevent SQL injection? How we can handle? Any idea? No? No idea. So generally, how we can configure and how we can define SQL injection and deal with SQL injections. These are nothing but, the concept is nothing but, usually they are handled usually they are handled by using stored procedures, right? We have to write the stored procedures. Always recommended to use stored procedures. And in the stored procedures, you can use your exception and all these things. Okay, right. So that is actually another option is cross-site request forgeries and handling cross-site request forgeries. Actually, cross-site request forgery is nothing but another application can post data into our application. That means when you are designing form method is some post and action is some URL. So this is also dangerous. Why? Because what is meant by cross-site request forgery? Request forgery is nothing but this is our project and anybody can see your URL. Anybody can see your URL. You can see here we have electronics, that is electronics page. Now everyone can copy this URL. Everyone can copy this URL. And what they do is they create a simple file. And in the simple file, so this is a general HTML file. So doc type HTML. This is some other website, HTML head. So yeah, and here we have body. In the body, they are using a link and a link that href is using your URL. That means site and anchor close and body close and HTML close, like this we can define. Now they can handle this scenario. And I will save this now. So on desktop, so sample 1.html. And you can see that when anyone opens this here, so sample 1.html, and you see here sample 1.html page we are accessing there. Yeah. And when I open this page, you see that this doesn't belong to that website. This is completely different. And when I click on that, then it can access your website and see. Not only accessing, it can even post the data into your application. That is cross-page posting. And how do we prevent this cross-page postings? That means cross-site postings. Generally, you have to manage these type of issues with the help of concept called means what is request forgery. I hope everyone understood. That means any other website can make a forgery of your website and they can post data into your application. We have to prevent the forgery. Usually we can prevent the forgery by using security token, and that security tokens are created by using cookies. They are designed by using cookie. I will show you a simple example how you configure and define the cookie. How you configure and define the cookie. So for example, suppose you are dealing with a simple option, that means you are configuring and defining with simple option. So cookies are used for, actually cookie concept is, cookies are simple text files where you can store the credentials or other client details, and you can verify the details. Already I told you about cookies enabled or not. Verify in JavaScript navigator object. I already told you how to verify the cookies enabled or not. Check cookies are working or not. Cookie enabled concept we discussed already. But we have to learn, generally create the cookies, configure the cookies, and use the cookies in your application. The cookies your application. Then cookies will verify whether request is coming from same application. You can define an ID or another application, and it can prevent. Let's see one simple example how we can handle that. Generally, suppose we are having this home here, localhost 3000. Okay, this is by default coming with this. Some options are there, and suppose I'm creating a simple login. I'm creating a login screen, and I'm defining a simple login option here. Or we will see a simple option to handle the output of this. So let's go to this in the same page itself. Means instead of wasting all this design, I will go here and in this page where we are rendering the content and displaying the content, what I will